you guys go and continue heading north along what remains of the 10 trail, despite this heavy snowfall, for your very short dusk, and then once again into traveling at night. And you're heading north. You're leaving the mountains behind you, and you get to a point. Especially Leif would be able to, because he has pretty high perception, and also because he's in the front of the group, where you hear the sounds of running water. And Leif, you would believe that there is a stream or a small river coming up. And right when you're about to communicate that to the rest of the party, you hear a loud splash, followed by voices, deep guttural voices shouting back and forth at one another. And Leif, you have a passive perception of 17. I would say that you can hear 3 distinct voices. And if you want to give me a perception check, I could give you some more information regarding that as well. 3 distinct voices, one of which is alarmed. What are you guys doing?
I'll signal to the others, and then I'll make my way briskly towards the sound of the noise.
Okay.
I'm back in Eladrin form because I'm out of wild forms.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just follow along on foot.
Yep.
Okay.
I kind of
I'll go with.
Set the cart down, and I'm kind of pulling up the rear for the group, trying to make sure we don't get ambushed from behind either.
Okay. All right, I'm going to move us to... Go ahead, sorry.
Saying, are we approaching quietly, or we're just...
Sounds like
I'm
we're just
gonna try
rushing
to.
over.
Okay.
I'll take... if you want to approach quietly, we'll do a group stealth check, where as long as 3 of you succeed, the group succeeds. So...
Okay.
Nope. It's supposed to be 17. I forgot to switch off advantage.
That's fine.
I'm just shouting, I guess.
I guess we're all still trying.
Well, we're all rolling, but
there.
there you go. That was good.
All right.
Did
so
3 of
that
us succeed?
3 of you. Yes, actually. So I'm going to move us to another map. All right. So Leif, you guys are in the south section of this map. Leif, you recognize this small river. At this point in the year, it's still a river, but it's not as deep, it's not as wide as it usually is because the snow isn't melting from its source. So, but this is the Redrun, and you would recognize this river. There's normally an area that's safe for you guys to cross, but you, as you approach, following the 10 trail, you've had a hard time finding that. And the sounds that you hear, the voices, are coming from the northwest of your current position. You can hear one person. Yes, Redrun is nerder backwards. That's right. That's right, MJ.
I didn't think anyone would read that.
You hear one. It sounds like there's one individual splashing in the water and yelling with alarm, and you can hear 2 other individuals arguing with each other. Does anybody here speak Orc?
Nope.
Don't think so.
Nope.
Not to totally give away what it is, but
Yeah, I wonder.
you would definitely recognize the language. Like you guys would be, wizened enough to know what Orcish sounds like, but you're not able to translate it. So
maybe not Rúna.
Oh, sure, maybe not Rúna. Yeah. So what are you guys doing?
Is this the extent of the vision?
This is, yes, because it is night.
And blizzarding.
I was going to say blizzard.
Blizzard's on the way.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Not a blizzard yet.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So what is this? Trees in front of me?
Yes, that's a tree blocking your vision.
It's a globule.
And you guys succeeded in your stealth check, so I'll let you all move up to your movement. Oh, and Leif, I think I don't have you with torchlight right now, so let me add that torchlight to you.
All right, I moved my movement. I see them. I like Rúna like kind of bats Rixana on the arm and like points at them, even though like Rixana clearly sees them too. Just like look.
Okay. So as you guys approach the river, you see one of these individuals is actually in the water, and he has his arms around this huge tree log that he's next to, and he's trying to scramble his way back up. Leif, you would know that the river isn't super deep right now, and it's not really fast. You're just guessing that this individual doesn't know how to swim, and so he's struggling to maintain. And the two individuals on the shore are arguing with each other. One of them is a little bit smaller than the other one, and that's the guy on the left. The bigger one that I have the icon on,
I can't see anyone.
oh, you can't. Okay, so they're still out of your vision.
Mhm.
But the bigger one of the two has multiple scars on his face, and they're both like jabbing fingers in each other's chests, completely ignoring the one who's in the water. But they seem to be having some sort of argument with each other, and they don't have any indication that you guys are even there.
Do they seem to be wearing any of the colors or emblems of the tribes that I would be aware of in this area?
You've spent time in Icewind Dale before?
Not a lot, but
Okay.
enough to know at least the big tribes.
Sure. Yeah, I would say that you recognize that these individuals are wearing the colors of the Many Arrows tribe, which is an orcish tribe.
Can I move up again?
Sure. Yeah. They spent their actions, quote unquote, just engaging with each other, and one of them struggling to not drown. So yeah, you guys can move again. And now, Leif, I'm gonna say that if you I was gonna say if you go any further, they will notice your torchlight. So if you approach the riverbank like that, they're gonna notice you. So I'll let you decide.
I'm gonna drop the torch and then shrug off my I don't know, winter poncho or whatever it is and jump into the water.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was just gonna toss him a rope, but
Yeah, I was gonna do the same, but
Okay. So
Yep.
Leif takes off his winter jacket and leaps into the river. What is everyone else doing when they see that happen?
I think I would have said, Leif, before you jump in, well, how about we toss him up this rope right here? Right here?
Well, I think he declared his action, so I'm going to take that action.
I'm going to call out to the other orcs. Do you speak common?
Hearing the splash and then hearing bear, they both stop. They both stop and look over at you. The bigger one starts to take out a javelin, and then the guy next to him like puts his hands on his chest, like, "Oh no!" And he's like, "Yes, we speak common. We are Orogs. Who are you?"
We are travelers. We heard a commotion, and your friend looks like he is in need.
In the meantime, Cayleigh's definitely throwing this guy a rope. So
Okay. The two that were arguing when you mentioned their friend, they kind of glance down at him and they're like, "Yes, yes, of course, yes, in need." And then they see Leif swimming towards them. So Leif, I'm going to take an athletics check as you help. It'll be relatively low DC, but I want to check as you attempt to help this drowning Orog back onto. Very nice, very nice. So I'm just going to move you, and you help this guy up, and he's sputtering and he's shivering, and you are exceedingly cold as well. But yeah, so he gets up and he's coughing up water, and he's like, "Oh, thank you. And then you guys can't help but notice the two that were arguing now seem to be whispering to each other.
Are there any animals nearby, like in the tree by me?
Oh yeah, there's probably squirrels and birds and stuff. If you want a specific one,
no, I just
Oh.
wanted to cast speak with animals, and then just
sure.
it's less like an investigation, like, hey, animals, like what happened here, and more like, I'm bored. I'm gonna go talk to these animals.
Okay, I would say that there's a snowy owl nearby that's kind of watching everything.
Okay, so I'll I'll cast Speak with Animals, and I'll just start speaking with that owl.
Okay, great. All right. While Rúna's doing that, and while Leif is climbing ashore on the other side of the river, what are the rest of you doing?
I'm
All
gonna
right,
blades
Leif
on.
pulls her rope back.
And then bonus action, I'm gonna try and just jump the river. So
Okay. Take an athletics
What?
check.
athletics, not acrobatics.
I think jumping is naturally handled by athletics, isn't it?
I don't know. Then what does
Yeah.
acrobatics actually do in that case?
Somersaulting.
If not,
Not a
leaping
lot.
from-
I'll let you do
Yeah.
it. I'll let you do acrobatics. Yeah, that's fine.
Balancing and
Mhm.
like stuff.
There we go.
Okay, so your jump is based off of your strength,
Ah, great. Excellent.
and the distance is what 5 feet per point in your mod, and you get a running start, so you add 10 feet to that. I think is what jump rules are.
Something
I
like
don't
that.
remember.
You make it.
something
You
like-
make it.
Yeah. Okay. I just have to make it like 3-ish. All right.
I would like
Anyways.
to roll my terrible insight to see if there's
Mhm.
any, like ill will intended by these guys.
Sure.
And I just go.
Hey,
What's up, guys?
not too bad.
Bear, the one that Leif saved, you believe that he feels he's indebted to Leif. Like the way he is regarding Leif next to him makes it seem
Mhm.
like he's ready to help out in any way he can. The other two, it looks like they more look like they're deciding what to do with you guys.
Mm.
And you can't tell, and you're able to tell that they haven't conversed with the one who fell in, quote unquote.
Mhm.
They're just whispering to each other, and it looks they have this look on their face that they're kind of like trying to figure out what to make of your group, what action they need to take, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And Leif and Nahesa, now that you two are on the other side of the river, you hear movement from the northwest of your position, further into the trees up here.
And I just want to
So-
clarify my pistol is holstered.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So we'll do Cayleigh and Rixana because I haven't heard anything from you guys yet. What are you two doing?
Oh, Cayleigh sadly coiled back up her rope. I guess she's watching to see. This might be another insight check, but she is sort of curious about these guys. She obviously can't understand what they're saying. I'm assuming they're whispering orc between each other.
Yes.
Themselves. So yeah, this might be just another insight check, and I'll probably.
Okay. And then while that's happening, Rixana, anything from you?
So I think Rixana, after like moving forward, she has one of those moments where she looks to her side and Rúna's just not there. Like, so she turns around and tries to move a little bit to see where Rúna is, and I imagine just sees her talking to an owl. And I think I'm just asking her what she's doing at this point.
Hello, Mr. Owl. How are you this fine night?
Cayleigh, you can tell that the larger Orog, the scarred face Orog, appears to be more open. Like he looks like he's honestly considering all the options and all the information. The shorter one next to him, that's doing most of the whispering, seems like he's trying to convince the bigger one of something.
Okay.
So then this one who's lying next to Leif is just like, oh, like, thank you, thank you. My
How did you get in the
friends attempted to cross heading south, and they said they would stabilize the log, but they did not, and I slipped and fell in.
I take it that's the log that's on the map, right?
Yes, yeah.
That wouldn't. It would probably make it about.
It's big, it's heavy, it's wood.
Yeah. And then when he says that, the big one was like, Uthug said he would support it. I was watching. And the other one's like, no. You were supposed to support it. You pushed him in.
Well, now that there's some of us on the, well, I guess I don't know if this is the southern. Yeah, it's the southern bank, right?
You're on the southern side. Yep.
Yeah, we could help stabilize it over here, so that way they aren't just trying to throw it over here.
Okay.
Can I-
The one that. Oh, go ahead. Go
Can I
ahead.
try
Dave.
and see if I can notice what the noise of the northwest was?
Oh,
I'll take
yeah,
a-
I was gonna.
Go ahead, Case. You're gonna
Oh,
both
I was
do
gonna say,
perception.
I asked the one that like is groveling, I guess, if he was traveling with anyone else, since.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
He's so Dave, I'll take a perception check.
Mhm.
Justin, I will take a persuasion check, because while the one that you saved is very open to it, you're guessing the other two are going to need more like convincing. They're not just going to jump at the offer to help. You get the sense that they're still suspicious of you guys. And Nahesa, you ask the Orog that's on the ground about who they're traveling with, and he's like, big party, many arrows. We were done assisting with the tribe, so we're heading south. He's like, snow looks bad coming in, and blizzards, and he's like, and 10-towners and Goliaths are all angry and aggressive, so we wanted to leave. And then the big one next to him gives him a kick to the back, and he's like, hey, he's like, no, he's like, don't tell strangers. He's like, oh right, just us. And
It's a good thing that wasn't suspicious.
Leif, yeah, you hear. It sounds like there are, you would guess, 2 or 3 more individuals. Whether or not they're part of this party. I'm drawing a line in the blackness. I don't know if you can see it.
No.
Can you see this? No.
Now.
Okay, I'll just ping then. Or, oh, you know what? I'll do you one better.
Okay.
Right over in this direction. And Cayleigh, you so you offer to assist. And when you do that, the one that was talking to Nahesa is like, oh yeah. And he starts to get up and move over to the log. And then the big one slowly puts his booted foot on that one's wrist. And he's like, he's like, we don't know these people. He's like, no. He's like, 10-towners and other human folk are, he's like, they're mean. He's like, we see what happens. And then the shorter one beside him is like, yeah. So you don't think you got through to him.
Mean? I just dragged your companion out of the river? Have your
Yeah.
friends in the bushes step out into the open.
They look at each other, and then the big one looks back, and he makes a hand motion and says something in Orcish. And 2 more of them step out. You can see that they have their javelins out, but they're more just like at the ready. They're not throwing them or anything. We're not calling for initiative. But they look like they're just like following orders, and that they have weapons out and they're prepared to use them if the need arises. And then the big one looks back to Leif and Nahesa, and he's like, what business have you to the north?
We're traveling to 10 towns. There's enough of us here we can stabilize the log and both be on our separate ways. Stop being so pig-headed.
And then he looks
headed.
And then he looks at the short one, and the short one's like shaking his head like, no. And he goes, and we can be certain you won't stab us in the back and take our wealth when we part ways.
I don't think any of us want
The only
for
thing
Orcish wealth.
we see you have to your names are, a bunch of soggy furs. We already have plenty of those.
And then the short
Okay.
one's like, sure.
Actually, this sort of helps us out, because then after we get this log ready, you guys can cross it. Some of us can cross north, so we aren't going to get soaked.
This is out of character,
Right.
but how are we going to get our cart across?
The one that's indebted to us can help.
Oh,
He already
there's
knows the river.
Robert can pull it through the river.
If they're talking about
It-
wealth, we could sell it to them.
Ah,
that would, if they're willing, that would make sense.
Yeah, is that a hint, Leif? Like
And
Well, I'm not dragging the cart.
dimension
so
of
yes.
wealth or anything? Like, okay.
They said, yeah, they did say.
Okay,
Many
so
Arrows is always looking for supplies, so
so
What did
Cayleigh,
we actually find? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Cayleigh, I'll have you roll another persuasion check. This time, make it with advantage, because more than one of you piped in. Nice. The Orogs, after a moment of whispering to each other, they agree that this seems like the best course of action and that they believe you, that you don't intend them any harm. So let's go ahead. You guys pick 3 people to make. Oh, no, there's enough people here. We don't need to make checks. You guys are able to fish the log out, and I'm just going to move this other one into position. Fish the log out and get it across the small river there. And again, it's not deep, but it is super cold. So having a way across that prevents you from getting wet is going to be a huge boon. Speaking of which, Leif, I need a Constitution saving throw, please. There's Kitty. Nice. Okay, you are fine. You can feel the chill set in, but it's not going to have any adverse effects quite yet.
Okay.
All right. So now that the log is up, the Orog that Leif saved, goes to put his foot back on it, and then the big one behind him puts his hand on his shoulder. He's like, no. He's like, they cross first. And then they all step back and give you guys room to make it across.
Yeah, I'll pound some stakes on either side just to help make sure that it won't roll or anything.
Yeah, I'll do the same on this
Nice.
side.
Nice. All right.
All right. Sure, I'll cross.
I'll yell across to someone to grab my jacket and torch.
Oh. We can
I will
probably
take.
throw that across, right? We can probably throw your gear across. That's only 20 feet.
Yeah, I would say so.
So gonna end.
And then the jacket lands in the river and floats
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I'll make sure that
I'll
Bear
carry
is
it
the one that
across.
throws it. Or...
Okay, all right. As you're crossing, as the 3 or 4 of you are crossing, I will need acrobatics checks for this.
While this is happening, can I be embroiled in a deep but meaningless conversation with an owl?
Sure,
Okay.
I love it.
Oh,
And then I'm like nudging her.
shoot.
It's time to go. You can bring the owl if you want.
I should have also posted a rope across.
Should have, but
Yeah, it's too late
unfortunately,
now. Sorry.
I was going to say I'll set one up once I get across, but did not roll that well.
So Cayleigh makes it across. Bear is going, and then gets about halfway and slips and falls. You're able to maintain your grip on the log, so you don't lose it completely. But you do fall into the water, and then Robo Bear sees you go down in the river and immediately leaps into the water to try and assist you. So you're able to clamber back onto the log, but you're gonna, after a minute or 2 here, we're gonna need you to make a Constitution save as well. Why don't you just make it now, and we'll.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then Rixana and Rúna, you see your companions heading across the river.
So this time I will toss one end of the rope across so that the way they can secure it to a tree, and then we can tie the other end to this tree over here.
Very nice.
And that way they have something to hold on to as they walk across.
Okay.
Sorry, Josh.
I'm gonna wait till Rúna has crossed. I'll go last.
Right. So unless the owl has anything important to tell me, I'm not asking for any particular information. I'm just kind of small talk with an owl, really. But
it is content with that. It has nothing,
I'm gonna give MJ
no
my
wisdom to impart.
inspiration for filibustering an owl.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm gonna. So and then when Rixana starts kind of like goading her away, like towards the log, Rúna will say, "Okay, goodbye, Mr. Owl," and then we'll follow and
All right.
head over to the log. And I'll just face step across
Okay.
because
Now that the rope is set up.
well, I mean, she She just looks at the rope, looks at the log, looks at Cayleigh, looks back at the rope, and then teleports.
Mm.
And Cayleigh basically nods as if she should have expected this.
And then like and looks really proud of herself.
Cayleigh eye rolls in 12 languages.
All right.
Now that Rúna's safely across, I'm going to not hold on to the rope and run across full sprint Legolas style and see if I can show off for these orcs.
Why
So
don't you
holding onto the
run
rope,
across the rope?
if you were using the rope, I would give you advantage, but I just need an acrobatics check.
That's fine.
Straight acrobatics.
If you
22.
succeed, oh my god. I'm giving my inspiration to Rixana for Naruto running across the log for no reason whatsoever.
And no one used Cayleigh's rope.
Like a little kid
No
at
one
an
used the
anime, like a child at an anime convention.
All
These-
right.
These orcs are like, what is wrong with these people?
Look what I
Wait,
can
you
do,
said-
Mom. Just,
Does anyone else hear Cayleigh whispering Serenity now?
She's still fine because they're Ogren. Is that what you called them?
Orog.
Orog.
Okay. So
It's
they,
like
they can
orc,
still use
but-
it at least.
Rog.
I think in some D&D, well, they're orc or
It's
orc
like big
ogre
orc, right?
mixes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mhm.
Thank you, Kat.
All right, so you guys make it across, and they see. So when Bear fell in, they kind of chuckled a little bit, and then when Robear
As they
jumped
should.
in after it, one of them just burst out with just super loud, just like guffawing. And then everyone else.
Shivering, I come out of the water and take a bow.
Yeah. And then everyone else makes it, and then when Rixana makes it across, they're laughing just ceases. They're just quiet. They're like, oh. And then they kind of look at each other, and then the big one, the one who fell in earlier, the big one pushes him and is like, "You first." And then they start going across. Bear and Robo Bear, you guys are on the other side, right?
Yeah. Before the leader crosses over, somebody who's not freezing to death should probably talk to them about the selling the cart.
Yeah, I think I would have started that up while the crossings were going on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cayleigh will start making a
hijinks, though.
campfire.
Well, I mean, what's our leverage here? It's like we've got a cart of goods we've just already abandoned.
What leverage do we need? It's a mercantile transaction. Like,
I guess so,
We
but it's
don't-
kind of like
we
we've
don't
just
have-
abandoned
yeah. So what did we actually find, Nick? Like,
abandoned it.
You found a bunch of carpentry tools and resources and stuff like that, and then there's some furs in there as
Bridge building
well.
kit.
Yeah, bridges for dummies is what you found.
Mhm.
No, it's a lot of just supplies, like general supply stuff. Nothing
Cart-
like
it's a cart repairing kit that we needed to repair the cart.
there's no provisions or anything like that. There's no weapons. There might be some like carving knives and stuff like that, but it definitely looks just like resources,
if you're on the move in character,
Mhm.
we might know of some supplies that might help get you on your way. Especially if
And-
you're going someplace new.
And he kind of cocks his head to the side. He's like, "Supplies? You would be willing to give those supplies?"
Yeah, if you're willing to give us some gold.
Oh, yes, of course. What sort of supplies you have with you?
I know where they are. They're in a safe spot nearby. But yeah, I guess then we can list off what you just told us we had.
Okay, I didn't know if you're going to be
Just-
truthful with them or if you, yeah.
I don't see
and-
any reason to lie to them. I
Sure.
don't know.
Okay. Yeah, he'll offer you. He'll offer you 50 gold for the 3 crates of supplies that you have, and you believe, especially because you did all the packing of it all earlier, and you kind of took
Mhm.
stock of all that. Nahesa, you believe that to be about a third of what their worth is.
Also selling the cart, so that is way low. Because it's not like we're going back for the cart.
Right.
Cart is only
Also,
like 15
cart
gold,
isn't in
though.
great condition. So
That's all right. So let's say the cart's worth 5 gold.
Refurbished cart.
Slaps the roof of the car.
Yeah. Yeah, this cart can hold so much.
You can fit so
not
many
the garbage.
adventures in here.
Oh no.
Did I mention that you know, the supplies are well packed in a, you know, and that you won't have any trouble moving them since they're on a cart?
Roll me a persuasion check.
Cool. Guess who's spending a luck point? Oh, did not toggle advantage on there.
Okay, go ahead and roll another one.
Yeah, there you go.
And he, like, when you mention a cart, he kind of perks up even more. He's like, "Oh, so he'll offer you 80 gold."
Make it a clean
Probably-
100.
Probably about as good as we're gonna get.
And then he looks at one of the ones across the river, and he holds his hand up, and the guy takes out a pouch and throws it to him, and he opens it up and he dumps it in his hand, and there he gives you 50 gold pieces and a gemstone worth 50 gold. So
Good enough.
Okay.
It's at the top of the hill on the other side. We just dumped it.
and then he goes over to Leif. We just dumped it. He goes over to Leif, and he goes, "You didn't have to save Korog, but you did." And he reaches into his belt and he takes out a scroll that's rolled up. He's like, "We can't read this. We don't know what this is, but it smells magical." And he hands it to Dave.
Did they hand it to the soaking
Smells
wet
magical?
dude?
I snatch it out of his hands.
So he's going to hand it to the soaking wet dude, and then Rúna snatches it.
And I open it and I try to read it.
God, I was booby trapped.
It is Rúna. It is a first level spell scroll, and the spell that it is for is our brand new Frost Fingers. And then without, if no one has anything else for the Orog, he just nods to you and he will make his way across the river.
Once he's like out of earshot, Rúna like takes the scroll and like probably offers it back to Leif, even though it probably isn't, you know, of any use to him, and is like, "Oh, it just makes it colder."